So Luke, just
Yep.
tell me when you start.
Yep. We're good.
Did you start?
Yep.
All right. Howdy. This is the WX podcast episode 14 with Storm Chaser Ryan Mauk. Or is that how you say your last name?
Yep, you got it.
All right. So how are you doing today?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm kind of tired. I worked a 12-hour shift yesterday, and then I decided to do some backyard chasing in North Dakota, Fargo, where I live. It was a supercell, had some tornadic look to it for a little while, so I don't know. I got a brief funnel and a wall cloud, and drove through the bear's cage at night. Good time.
Sweet. Alrighty. So I guess we should just jump into the questions or whatnot.
Yep.
All right. So what got you into weather?
Oh man, that is probably a very deep rooted psychological question. Like when I was 5 years old, I remember being in daycare, even younger than that, and there'd be like a tornado warning or whatever, and they try to, rally the kids, and I'd be like fighting my way or like, try to wanted to see, I wanted to see what was going on. I've always been, I mean, since a young boy, just fascinated by it, I guess, and like it wasn't the movie Wizard of Oz, but when I saw the movie The Wizard of Oz, it made it even worse, and then when Twister came out when I was like, when was that? Man, like
I think that was
14,
in 1996. So,
1996. Oh yeah, you're right. So I was 16 years old. Dates me a little bit. So yeah, and it's crazy. I remember seeing the trailer, the theatrical trailer for that movie in the theaters before it actually came out, and they had actual, if my memory is not messing with me, they had actual chaser footage, and I was just like, oh my god, I have to see this. This is gonna be amazing, and yeah, and there wasn't anything like that, but of course, that's a classic, classic movie that is almost delightfully cheesy. It's just one of those like perfect movies that got it together. But I mean, between that and I mean, that's really it. I mean, I've always been trying to go see the tornado ever since I was young. I mean, if they'd have a tornado warning, I'd really try to go see it. I was never scared of it. Like some of my friends are just like the sirens go off and they're absolutely mortified. And I've never been that guy ever. I've always want to go out and really take a look.
All right. So, Andrew, you got any questions?
yeah. What is like your favorite, I guess, storm chase you've gone on? Like favorite event you've chased?
I'd have to say Selden, Kansas this year. That was pretty. I was thinking about this recently too. Like this is the best year I've had so far. That day, I think it was just because of how close we were all able to get to it, and how perfect the road was, the storm motion with that road. Which, I mean, when does that ever happen? A, B, it just the shots I got were what I've kind of always dreamed on getting. I was able to get a debris cloud at super slow motion, 120 frames a second. I mean, I kind of wish there was more like trees and things like that, but it was still enough to really get the really super slow, cranked out motion of the vortex on the ground. But that, and I think a close second was Buxton, North Dakota, July 11th, 2017. It was like 50 miles away from home. Multi-vortex wedge, then quickly became rain wrapped. At which point I kind of lost visual of it, but that's a close second, I think.
Alrighty. What is one chase that you're happy that you missed?
Today? I I don't know. I was really thinking about it, but the more I looked at everything, I was like, that thing is gonna line out instantly. Like it's just there's too much cape. There's not an inhibition, and there's strong forcing. It's just gonna like unzip into a big MCF right away. And those chases are like, they throw down tubes here and there, but trying to be at the right place, you can't predict where on that line that's going to happen. You have no idea. Wherever the line decides to kink and pull a little bit of inflow at the right time, and then it's just, I mean, luck, And there's been very few chasers that have actually caught on film an actual Q mode tornado. I mean, it's like winning the lottery. But that's a good question, though. God, glad I missed, I guess. Well, I was thinking about maybe doing the Magnum Oklahoma thing. Was that last year? The high risk?
I think it's
2019.
2019. Okay, it was like the high risk for that year, and I was really thinking about going down, but I guess underwhelming as that was compared with the traffic down there. I'm glad I missed that one. I think I would have ended very frustrated and probably wouldn't have seen much anyway. So
yeah, nothing really happened.
No, there's like one tornado that maybe a dozen people saw. A dozen out of the hundreds of dots that they were out. Oh man, it was just, that's the thing. Like I haven't chased Oklahoma just because of that. Because in May, if there's a high risk, like the entire country is down there, and I'm just like, no.
Anyone with a phone camera.
Yeah, we're literally like, which is, I mean, that's great, but at the same time, it's like there's not enough room for people to safely like navigate in that when it gets that thick, and yeah.
The funny thing is, this year we had a tornado warning here. There was like no one on the road before the tornado warning came out, and then like right after the tornado warning came out, everyone was on the roads. It seemed like.
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually. Yeah, up here, that's kind of why I love it when I have backyard chases up here, because nobody comes up here. Like no one in Nebraska, and well, a few people, but very few people are thinking, I'm gonna go up to North Dakota to hit some tornadoes. Like it's so out of the way for everybody, and it's few and far between. Like usually, a lot of us have the storm for the most part to ourselves, and there's very few people out there. The road networks are great, and it's when it works out, it works out. But
yeah, when I start chasing, I want to chase North Dakota and South Dakota one day.
South Dakota is great too. South Dakota has, in the past, yielded some serious tornadoes, man. Like you look up Bodle, South Dakota from 2010. That was a monster. I mean, monster wedge that only yielded, I want to say EF3 damage at the most. No, that might have been an EF4 actually, but if that tornado would have hit a major metropolitan area, it would have been absolutely catastrophic. I mean, it was just the videos from that. Ugh.
Yeah, I got EF4. I just looked it up.
Yeah, it's nicknamed the best little town in South Dakota, and man.
There's really
even Montana can get some big torque.
You blink, you'll miss it. I mean, it's just like
yeah,
it's just west of Aberdeen, South Dakota on that road there. That little area is kind of like my favorite little corridor of South Dakota to chase in the Eastern Plains. Like right, Aberdeen south towards Redfield and Mitchell, kind of like before you get to the interstate there. It's perfect. It's flat. There's no real obstacles, all good roads for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my next question would be, what's one event you wish you would have chased?
Oh, man, there's lots of those. Well, of note, last year, was that July 8th, Ashby, Minnesota?
Oh, yeah.
That's like, I mean, 70 miles away from home, and I didn't chase because I was at work, and I'm an ICU nurse by day, so I was recovering an open heart patient. They have heart surgery. They come right up to me, and that's what I was doing that day while my inbox is flooding. Hey, you all chasing today? Hey, you all chasing today? And people are tagging me in all these photos of just like, oh my God, it was like just the worst. That was the worst ever, man. It was like, oh, I was trying to get the day off and it didn't happen. And yeah,
That tornado was so perfect.
oh, I
Yeah,
know. Like the roads up there are great. I would.
Was the
I mean, I would have been able to get close. I know that area really well, and it would have been like no problem. But no, I admit that one. I could have chased. Oh, when was that? It was like June 17th, 2010, I believe. There was an outbreak in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was like historic. I mean, I don't think that's the biggest outbreak that's been in the Northern Plains like ever. And I could have chased, and I didn't because, well, for a couple of reasons. A, I was just starting to really try to go out and actually actively chase at that time. So I was pretty novice, you know. I didn't have the knowledge or the tools that I have now. Um, and I had heard that it was going to be a really dangerous day, and even like a local storm chaser would kind of put out the warning, like if you're an amateur, you got to sit out today or whatever. Um, and I had this job at the time that I could have left. It was like this weird office administration job that I could have left. Would have been fine. Could have left for the day, but it was like then you still have to like be kind of on call, and I was like, do I want to leave? Do I not? And I ended up not going, but I really wish I kind of half wish and half don't wish I would have gone there, because who knows? I mean, I would have got up on something, and especially like toward the cells towards Wadena and the track towards Montevideo, Minnesota. Those were pretty high precipitation and big, and the roads down there kind of, they don't really go north, south, east, west. They kind of go diagonal. It might have, who knows? Maybe I dodged a bullet that day. I don't know, but that kind of, oh, I mean, God, if you wanted to get really good footage of just an absolute tornado fest, that would have been the day for sure.
Yeah, the Wadena tornado was like that was just catastrophic what it did to Wadena that day.
It just barely skirted Wadena. It didn't even go like in the heart of the town. It just skirted the north side. Yeah, but it did EF. It was not playing. It did EF4 damage like that. I mean, it's pretty wild. I think Skip Talbot has some really good footage of that whole day. Really. Of course, Reed has some amazing footage, close footage of that. That's when they were actively storm chasers, or they were filming that storm chasers series that day, I believe.
Yeah, I actually watched that show about that day yesterday.
Yeah, that was wild, man. That was yeah. I kind of regret that day. Kind of don't, but oh well.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone for an intercept that day though if you didn't have like a big car.
No, man. I had a Ford Taurus at the time that I didn't care what happened there. I kind of missed that car actually, because it just didn't matter. Like dent, cool, whatever. Whatever. As long as I have glass, I can like drive home. Wasn't real concerned about it, but.
So Justin, you got a question?
Not yet. No, not yet.
I have a question.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about chasing a Dixie event?
No, and the only reason is because it is literally across the country to do that. There's lots of trees down there, and like geographically, it's similar to northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin up here. It's just trees, and by the time you actually see something, it might be right on top of you. But that being said, I guess if there were a couple of us, if we were to like fly down and maybe rent a car, I mean, maybe I might take a crack at it. I guess I don't know. I haven't actually thought about getting down there. I mean, I know There's a lot of great storms. I mean, geez, April, Tuscaloosa and all that event.
Yeah.
Clear evidence that that area has some. I mean, that's not a secret to that area too. Actually, if you look at it, there's a map. You can see like the average tornadoes per year. They're actually like there's a big bullseye right over like Mississippi, Alabama,
Yeah, northern Alabama.
right
Yeah.
there. You have all that energy right there, and all you need is
Right.
that transgress north a little bit on a cold front, and boom, it's just like it's clockwork. But so no, not yet. I mean, you never know. I might in the future go at it, but I just haven't really had any desire like that. Every spring, like February through April or whatever. It looks like things are going to be bad down there or whatever, and I don't know. I just haven't actually thought I'm going to take a crack at it. Maybe this year, we'll see.
Yeah, December can be sneaky sometimes down here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like
Even
right around Christmas.
Illinois and Iowa, December can be sneaky. Like there's some just odd things that happen over there sometimes. It just like you have a tornado on the ground, and not literally 10 hours later, a snowstorm. It's like
Yeah.
weird.
That happened once here to me. Like we had like an EF3 here once, and then it was like 2 days later we had like 2 inches of snow.
Yeah, that's what happened at Henryville.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Yeah. That whole dynamic there, late season ones where it's just there's moderate, warm, kind of humid air down there, and then get some winter thing that comes through, and that's the dynamic.
Yeah.
Luke, you got a question?
Not at this current time.
All right. So, what camera equipment do you use?
I use a combination of Sony FX6, which that's my newer one. I got an A7S2 that I use for time lapses more than anything. It used to be my main before I upgraded, but I use a GoPro. I got a couple of drones, but I got an Inspire 2. I got a Mac 2 Pro. And I haven't brought. I probably won't bring the big one out, and that's just too expensive to crash if something. But so that would be the better quality for sure. But I just that's kind of it. So like really everything's kind of laid out in my back seat ready to go, so I can just very quickly pull over, grab what I gotta get, and get out. But
All right. So, what advice do you have to future storm chasers or people that want to storm chase that don't know exactly what they're doing?
I just really I mean, not just aspects of things, but I mean, I think it's a great idea for everybody to take a Skywalk class offered pretty much everywhere. You can local all service guys will go out and have little seminars. That's huge. Just knowing what to look for, what things kind of look like. I think the most important thing. I think when it comes down to it is just really be on your situational awareness at the time. I mean, because things can twist on you so fast. I mean, like you can be like going, driving where you don't. You could be in like Nebraska. You've never been out this part, and you're driving towards the feature, right? And then suddenly you have a road to get a little closer at, right? And then you get up and you get the right towards you, and you only have a route, and it's muddy. It's like those kinds of situations. You just got to really be aware of like everything. I'd say it can don't go alone. Even I go alone, but like it's just because like my work schedule, like I work like 3 days a week, so chasing in the middle of the week, and most of my friends they're like 9 to 5 jobs. They don't have time to really get out, but I would say definitely go like with a couple of you have better than 1, 2 sets of eyes, better than, and then just study, man. Like there's a video seminar put on by Rich Thompson, who's a lead meteorologist forecast storm predictions. He puts on a great webinar, forecasting. I mean, we're everything down from basics all the way up to synoptic comparisons to different setups, and that's really informative. There's also a Skip Talbot has a really good video that it's kind of an advanced Skywarn type video, sort of. It shows what visually to look for and what to stay away from. There's some features that that aren't necessarily Skywarn classes, like the things like the base stage, where in the metro that is the tornado most likely to be. There's a lot of really good information there. Aside from that, I don't know. Go out and try it. Be safe. Yeah, I'd say. Start from a distance first. Like don't try to get right up in there right away if you haven't done it a few times, because I mean, it can literally back on you real quick, and
Yeah. All right. Any of you got any more questions or?
Yeah, I do. What is the
Alright.
strongest tornado you've chased?
hard to say. As far as rating, I think
Yeah.
you have 3. As far as how strong I know it was, I mean, it's probably Buxton, North Dakota, back in 2017. That thing, like it planted so fast. If that was on the ground in a neighborhood, there's no way that those houses wouldn't have. That had to have been top tier strength for sure. But officially rated EF3 so far.
Yeah.
Trying to look that up.
Yeah, and just kind of going off topic, there was actually a 90-mile-an-hour wind gust in Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah.
Someone just told me that.
No.
So
Yeah.
what are the strongest winds that you have recorded on like anything on your equipment that you've had?
I don't have any of that equipment. I've thought about some of it. I know a lot of chasers that on the top of the car and it gets destroyed. They're like, it's just one more thing to break and one more little gadget I have to have inside my vehicle. But that being said, I'm gonna get maybe 90 to Gus. That was out of we were chasing out west and everything lined out. Eventually became a derecho that I can't even remember. It was like August of sometime. It wasn't last August. It was the one that went into South Dakota, but it was pretty much a game of dodge the derecho. So you're on I-90 just hauling away from the thing. And I was going 90, 95 miles an hour, and that I was looking up out my window, and that thing was keeping right up with me, like, and then finally after about 40 miles, I kind of decided, you know what, we're not gonna outrun this thing. It's not gonna happen. Let's just hunker down and just ride it out. And that was that was intense. I mean, we were in a field. There weren't any trees around except for maybe a couple smaller ones that are probably too low profile to blow over, really. But I remember there was a sign, like one of the bigger highway signs, you know, that said an exit, and I remember seeing that thing just like and actually it pushed it over a little bit, and I had to turn my car like into the wind because I was absolutely going to blow over. I mean, you can car like kind of tipping. I don't know how high that particular wind was at that moment, but they were saying 90 to 100-mile-an-hour gusts at the time in the area that there was recorded from somebody else. So I'm gonna guess that that's probably it.
Wow.
Man.
And you think that, you know,
Oh,
90 to 100 mile an hour is like in tornado terms, yeah, it's not really that high, but you feel that in its raw form. That's some serious wind. I mean, scary. Real scary.
Yeah, it's a Category 2 hurricane.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I can take your roof off your house, no problem.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think people downplay like NCSs and derechos
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they don't say it's a tornado. Because I think
Mhm.
everybody
Right.
tornadoes are the worst thing that can happen.
Obviously, I want the tornado. Obviously, that's what I go
Yeah.
after. I generally don't kind of have the theology. If you've seen one shelf, you've seen them all. You know, and I mean, they're cool to look at it. Like, but I definitely drive hundreds of miles to go look. But no, yeah, they are serious. I mean, people don't realize that, you know, like a wide area of 100-mile-an-hour potential plus winds. That's a big deal. You know, that can do a lot of damage and hurt people too. You take the house and then crash a tree into your car, or throw your car off the interstate or whatever. You know, so yeah, you're right though. Yeah, people don't take them that seriously. They say, oh, it's just a your thing, whatever. But yeah, they do damage for sure.
Yep.
Okay, I have another question. Have you ever chased a hurricane?
No, never have. I kind of don't really have a desire to, honestly, because like you're not really chasing the hurricane. You're just getting
Hurricanes come to you.
yeah, like pretty much. I mean, there's not much visually you can see. I think I guess the ideal situation would be to hang out in a concrete parking ramp next to some blowable things, I guess, and try to get that on film. But
Or if
no,
it's in the day, you can see the eye.
yeah, that would be cool. That I think that would be amazing to get a time lapse of that.
Mhm.
I know some people have done it with a real big wide angle lens, and it ends up just spectacular. But no, I haven't chased a hurricane yet. I don't know if I'll ever actually get at that, man. Pretty much like come September, I'm pretty much done. Unless things look decent down in the like we were just talking about those little weird happenings down in Illinois or Indiana, those pop-up flukes that happen. That would kind of decided if that happens this year, I'm gonna take a crack at it.
Yeah.
All right.
What's like the biggest snowfall you've seen? Like in terms of inches, feet?
Inches, feet, easily. You know, it's happened a lot more when I was a small kid. We had a lot of snow up here. Trying to think. 1997, we had snowstorm after snowstorm, and we were like, schools canceled many times. I mean, it was just way too much snow. Literally have to like push our door to like kind of sneak out of the house, get a shovel and clear it, because like the drift's like all the way up to here, you know. Yeah, feet easily. It seems like the pre-tip in the winters up here in the last like decade or so have kind of dwindled. Like we don't really get the big heaving snowstorms like we used to. We get a lot of wind and blizzard conditions. That's like all the time up here in the winter, but
Yeah.
we haven't really got any like massive amounts of snow in a while, which is unfortunate because that kind of leads to a drought condition. like with farmers, and
Mhm.
I would say chasers need that up here because if you don't have the moisture in the ground, it's not a good thing.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
planes have been pretty inactive the last few years, like on the I-35 corridor.
Yeah, it's been a weird couple. Yeah, it's been a weird couple years. Last year, I barely got one tornado. I mean, it was like I barely. Well, hardly had time to get out too. But when I did get out, I ended up getting one in the Badlands of South Dakota, and that was from a distance, and it wasn't at all photogenic. It was a very dirty, ugly, lowering. Like the wall cloud pretty much became the whole feature, and then that was about it. Um, 2019 was okay in May, I guess, out in Nebraska. 2018, I wasn't too much in 2018 either. This year's been fantastic though, so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, people say this year's been very inactive, but it really hasn't.
I mean,
The numbers
overall,
aren't as high as usual,
yeah,
but
yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, you look at the annual count and the tally or whatever, it's probably not as low as people say. I mean, I like last year. I know there are plenty of tornadoes. I just didn't see any but one. You know,
Mhm.
this year I think there's been a lot, especially in the earlier part of the year. But it wasn't the May I expected, I guess. But it turned out okay though.
yeah, March was, I think, the most active month this year, or May, one of those two, March and
Yeah,
May.
I think it was March, but that early May outbreak was pretty significant.
Yeah, no one really expected that too.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. 5% a day. There was a tornado emergency.
In Tupelo.
Yeah, what is the lowest what is the lowest SPC probability that you have chased, and what was the tour risk?
Lowest 2% slight. And where was that exactly? Oh God, I'm trying to think. Actually, the one I got a tornado. Technically, see, okay, this is the one that I didn't count last year because I didn't really see it with my own eyes. I saw a funnel cloud for sure, but I from a distance I thought I saw a nice rope tornado on the ground, but when you're like 15 miles away, can't really say for sure. But that one was on the ground, I guess. It was confirmed by another chaser who I know, and that wasn't even a tornado risk day at all. It was a slight risk. We're talking wind gusts and hail was the concern. And that was probably. But again, I don't really count that day because I didn't see the actual touchdown with my eyes. So
All right.
Yeah. So,
So
what's your favorite like episode you recorded of the rear flank?
probably, well, probably Selden. I think the first one. Well, the Iowa one was okay too, I guess. Actually, no. You know what? Honestly, episode 3 when I took my son out, that's kind of my personal favorite. That's my personal favorite, and that's the one that has probably like the least amount of views on all of them, which is crazy because like there was, I mean, great shots of a lot of things in that, and it just didn't get the traction that my last one in Wisconsin. It has like 46,000 views for like no reason at all. Makes no sense. Like I didn't even like really even put it out. It was like, okay, I got a funnel cloud and some like mezzos and a wall. This is like whatever, and I just, oh fine, I'll put it out, and boom, it just like took off. So I figured, okay, fine, direct traffic to the other ones. But yeah, so I would say episode 3 so far. Right now I'm working on episode 6. and it's right now it's just B-roll. I'm kind of waiting on something. Hopefully, I can get a close range tornado one last time this year, and then roll it into that. But I'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Okay, Jackson. Yeah, you can go now.
I'm trying to think. What what year did you do the most chasing?
Mm, probably this year. Really, because I took actual time off from work to strictly go at it. And then and then I took that time off, and like May didn't like. I remember the beginning of May, like I was looking at the GFS, and granted, you look at the GFS a couple weeks out. I mean, you can't really take that for anything but entertainment value, really, because it's just a long range model. But I was just like, God, like, hello, do something, like nothing was happening, and then finally, it was like, okay, Colorado and Nebraska, and then Kansas the next day, I suppose. Why not? I didn't really think it looked amazing or anything. I didn't think it was going to be a high risk or anything like that. But I've traveled the most this year than ever. I mean, going down to northeast Colorado over to Nebraska and then down to Goodland, Kansas, across northern Kansas, central Kansas, down South Dakota and every corner pretty much so far. Even went to Wisconsin. I never thought I'd chase storms in Wisconsin. It's tree there. There's one really only one area of plains sort of that's like, that doesn't have too many trees, from pretty much Minneapolis to Eau Claire, and that little area is a good swath where there's not too many trees. Aside from that, it's all trees and hills and things like that. But yeah, I've traveled a lot this year, like a lot. Might even go to. I might go to hit up. Kind of depends.
What's your favorite state to chase in?
Oh, South Dakota, easily. I don't know why. I think it's just because South Dakota's been good to me. Usually, like I had my first real, like, really good chase that yielded many tornadoes on one day was Father's Day 2015 out in South Dakota, and that turned out really good. I didn't get close, but I got close enough, and it was that was a good day. Yeah, South Dakota's been great. I mean, like, there's usually always, I think, a little more oomph to the storms down there, and I think it has a lot to do with the Black Hills, kind of the orographic forcing, how it interacts with the atmosphere down there to kind of ramp things up. We don't have that in North Dakota, so like, when we get storms in North Dakota under similar ingredients, that they I don't know, I pack as strong of a punch as they do out there. But.
Yeah. So, what is the first tornado you saw? Like, where was it and what was the rating of it?
Very first.
Yes.
God, I was 16. It was in Sabin, Minnesota, which is like right across the river from Fargo. You can, it's like a suburb kind of. I don't know the rating of that. I mean, it touched down and it was on the ground for a pretty good amount of time. I don't know I don't really know the rating. I should look that up. I don't think it hit much. I mean, there's like nothing out there. There's like some shelter belts with trees and some fields, But that was the first. The frustrating part about that is I took video of it with an old school camcorder with a VHS tape in it, right? And yeah, matter of fact, I still have that tape around here somewhere. It says severe storm this 96. And like recently my mother moved and it was in there, and I found it. I was like, oh, this is the one, so I went, I got a VCR and a converter to try to convert it to digital, and I don't think it's on there. I think somebody recorded over it. sucks. But I do have a whole. I got every VHS from my mother's house in my room. Someday I'm gonna go through every one of them. But yeah, I recorded that. I got footage of that, and I don't have anything to show for it. So it's kind of and it was just on foot. Like we were riding bikes nearby, and like, so, and I knew what a wall cloud was because it was coming over town in Fargo, and you could see the rising scud going back into it. I'm like, oh, that's gonna do it. We should go back and get my camcorder and go after it. And we did. We like rode our bikes like all the way to Lindenwood Park, just like a few blocks away from where my mom lived at the time, and we could see just a clear view to the southwest. And there was a baseball park there, and we got all the way to the top of the bleachers up there and videotaped that thing. And yeah, and I don't know where that footage is. I hope I find it someday. But
Yeah.
Would you ever chase in Canada if you ever got the chance?
oh, definitely, absolutely, man. There's been some mean tornadoes up in Canada before, man.
Yeah.
I hope to get up there. It just hasn't worked out. I remember there was a few years ago. There's a 10% risk in the very, very narrow swath of the very top of northwest North Dakota. Canada had the better look of things. So I was really, okay, do I sit at the border and go through all that and kill a bunch of time, then get over, maybe see something, and then have to come back and wait probably even longer? Or do I just stay on the States side of things? And I stayed on the States side of things. I kind of wish I would have went over to Canada because they did throw down a brief stovepipe, I guess. But yeah, oh god, yeah, I chase Canada for sure if it worked out. And I had the time to burn. See, that's the thing. Like, it's not like a toll bridge or anything like that. You know, you're going to Canada. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Do you have any drugs and alcohol on board? Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Who's all in the car with you? Do you have any food with you? You know, does anybody with you have a communicable disease? I mean, it's just this big, long thing, right?
Right.
You're there for it.
Mhm.
And sometimes they decide to just randomly pull your car aside and look through it and make sure you don't have any contraband and things like that. So coming back, it's even worse because a lot of times what people, I guess, is they'll go up to Winnipeg and get a whole bunch of liquor, which isn't against the law, really, because like, you can bring back certain amounts of like alcohol and cigars and things like that, and they don't care. But like past a certain amount, sometimes what people do is they'll buy bulk because they don't have to pay tax, and they'll come back to the mark it up. So when you come back to the United States from Canada, that process takes easily 3 times longer. So like you have to really like budget out. Okay, if I'm gonna chase on Wednesday, I'm gonna go up there on Tuesday and mess around with all that, and then I'm gonna come back on Thursday, and that's probably the better way to do it. Honestly, that way you got the whole day to chase, and you don't have to worry about any of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, Canada has had some amazing tornadoes, especially like in Manitoba.
Yeah, they had a F5 in 2007.
Yeah, Ellie.
Kind of their area up there. That's where the nice things happen. Yeah.
I think Ellie has to be probably the most photogenic Canada's had, the F5 back in 2007.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the most photogenic F5s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the farthest away from home that you've chased?
The worst what?
What is the farthest away from home that you've chased?
Oh, somewhere between Dodge City and Goodland, right in the middle there. It's about as far away from home as I've got in Kansas. And that was last year. Nothing happened.
Yeah, last year not many people got too much last year.
No, it was like I originally was targeting the Panhandle of Nebraska, and the HUR kept consistently every run showing these cells firing off a dry line in Kansas. And I just kind of rolled my eyes at it. I really didn't think it was going to really amount to much because it didn't have the best. It wasn't grabbing the 500 millibar wind trough as much as the northern stuff was, and they didn't really have. Well, there was warmer temps aloft, which generally means capping. So I was like, no way this is gonna. But it kept showing it, and it kept showing it, kept showing it, and it kept looking correlating with the surface observations. And a couple of us met up and were talking about this. We tried, we did, nothing happened. The storm's fired, but they I mean, you could see they were radiating, but like nothing happened. It was a long drive home.
Yeah, pretty much last year everything happened down in Dixie Alley.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
April 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
April
was your
12th pretty much did it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What was your experience with May 26th this year? I think it was
Yeah.
the moderate risk.
Was that in Kansas?
It
Yes.
was
It-
in Kansas.
Kansas and Nebraska.
Yeah. I went home after Selden.
Oh,
I would have stayed. I was planning the Kansas Nebraska border waiting to happen, but I had to work like the 20th. That was my vacation. I decided to give myself a day of rest, and God, I wish I would have went. That was my experience. That was another chase that I wish I would have hit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Binkelman is one of the most underrated this year. Tornadoes. Not many people
Yeah.
talk about Binkelman tornado.
I watched
It was
that
rated
live.
EF2, but probably was a little stronger. Probably EF3, EF4.
Mm.
I mean, if you looked at that there was someone streaming it live. It was just a big wedge, just amazing.
Yeah.
And then when it started roping out, it was just a beautiful rope.
What is the widest tornado that you've seen?
in person,
Yeah.
are we talking full contact with the ground?
Yes. Well, actually, no. Just its wind perimeter.
Hard. Hey, Iowa City was this year was that was pretty big. And and it's hard to really throw a number on it. I think that the main circulation was maybe a quarter mile wide in its beginning, and we were on the back side of it. The rain and the RFD came around from our perspective, kind of obscured us, but that or Batesland, South Dakota might be a close second, but that I was so far away from that. I have no idea how wide that thing moved. Quarter mile, really. I haven't been on any real big wide ones quite yet. I like to at some point.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So were you talking about Iowa City or Lake City? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Lake City, not
Okay.
Iowa. Iowa City is I think where I ended up going to Applebee's for steak and regretted it. Ugh.
Trying to find the perimeter that it was on the weather.gov website. It says to be determined, so that doesn't help.
They still haven't figured that out.
I'm trying to find out.
Well, it's hard to see. It's hard to say, 'cause, like, I mean, when that one was at its peak, it wasn't in a populated area, out in the field.
Yeah.
So like when I think with surveying corn, well, a very little can take corn out. So like I think it's tough to really accurately estimate wind fields because you might not be in the it'll still blow over.
Okay. Sorry. What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying it might be hard for them to actually get the actual depth on that, just because at its peak, or with it was only like I don't think it was hitting anything real obvious. You got a damage clearly obvious. When you get out and just a little harder.
Okay, so apparently Lake City at its peak, it just says 615. I don't know if that's length,
Yard.
width. Well, no, it says 615 in width. I don't know if that's meters, feet, yards. I'm pretty sure it's yards.
615, so times 3.
If it was yards, it'd be a third of a mile.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, like that, because I was just thinking like the whole wall cloud in and of itself had a whole bunch of vortices kind of spinning up within it. And I'm just guessing I guess about a quarter of a mile out of it. It's so hard like there to really like gauge how wide things are.
Yeah.
That time we were pretty much right there, so I maybe like a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So 650 yards, I guess that would roughly be a third of 1,800-ish.
If it were yards, it would be about a third of a mile wide.
Yeah, sounds about right.
If it were feet, it would be around a tenth of a mile wide.
Well, it was definitely bigger than sure. I could estimate probably pretty well. That's 6 football fields long. No, that's yards. Sorry, 2 football fields long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do math here real quick.
So, how far have you driven this year? You think?
This year, Selden and Goodland. And then, well, I remember. I remember I took a picture of my odometer too, and I want to say I drove a good like 1,700 miles that trip. It's kind of a lot. Because we started out, we were gonna go to South Dakota at first, and then that day it didn't look really all that impressive, and I wish I would have because it did. It happened, but no, we ended up. Yeah, it was about 1,700 miles round trip down to western South Dakota, all the way down to Nebraska to Colorado, then to Goodland, Kansas, where I had a roadway in. It was the sketchiest experience of my life. And after that, yeah, pretty much all the way through central and northern Kansas. And then we Colby, Kansas, and that I had Fargo, and it was about a 10.
All right. Andrew, you got any other questions? Justin, you got any other questions?
No, I had one, but someone said it already, so I can't think of any more besides that.
Luke or Atlantic, y'all got any?
Nope.
I don't believe so.
All right. How long have you been recording, Luke?
Probably close to 45 minutes.
It's not long enough. All right. What is your weirdest experience while out chasing?
Weird. Well, one time it was in Nebraska, actually. It was August 8th, 2015. There's video of this on my YouTube page. Well, not of the weird thing of the tornado, but after that, I was pulled over on the side of the road, trying to kind of plot a road out of there just so I could go somewhere and sleep, basically. And this guy, I pulled up, and he was just like, he's like, "Did you see that? Oh, that was crazy. I don't think I've ever felt like. I think I've ever felt terrified for my life, ever." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Which way did you see? Which way they went?" Like, they? What do you mean? He's like, that car. You didn't see that car? And I don't know, like this guy was just like not making any. and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. This guy's a lot bigger than I am. And he kept like he had this like air about him, like he was like kind of angry and agitated, and like that was probably the weirdest experience I guess of anything. I've been weird on people chasing just for entertainment. That's kind of. There was one time I was parked in a cornfield and some Hooterite. There's a lot of Hooterites up here in the north, and what a Hooterite is kind of like an Amish person, sort of, but like they still use technology. They're if you know what an Amish person is, they're kind of sort of the same, sort of. They all live in colonies and stuff, and they have like big giant farms, and they pretty much they're self-sustaining. They grow all their own everything, you know. Anyway, guys pulled up to me like, "Hey, y'all chase farm?" And I look at him. No. What are you doing out here? I said, "We're waiting for him." Like, who's him? And I just smiled. Him. And I kept it for like I kept it going for like 5 seconds before I was just like I'm just playing, yeah, but like just for a second they're just like him, like children of the corn. It was next to a big cornfield. I thought it was funny. I don't know. They didn't think it was that funny, but yeah, I don't know. Weirdities out chasing. That's about. I'm sure there's more if I really thought about it. I don't know.
What?
It's the
Okay.
funniest you ever chase.
Hold on really
terms of-
quickly. We've been recording for 56 minutes, so I was off on my prediction.
That's all right. I mean, we'll just keep going until we've run out of questions.
Is this like your best year of chasing ever?
Yeah, it is so far. I'm up to 11 this year, which I mean, it's kind of high for me. I have a lot of guys that get like 20, 30, you know, whatever. I haven't been that kind of person to really have that kind of luck, I guess. But yeah, it's been 11 so far this year. This has been a great year. It's kind of dwindling though. I kind of hoping I can just get one more. Get one more, I'll be good.
Yeah.
What was your first year you chased?
Like actively trying to pursue one, like actually try to go out and do it.
Yeah.
Probably 2010. That's what I really like. Okay, I'm gonna actually go do this, and all I had was I had a NOAA radar app on my BlackBerry. If you know what that is, a BlackBerry at the time was just wow, BlackBerry. Now,
Yeah.
I remember it.
and in a NOAA weather repeater on the radio, we just knew what AM station that the NOAA weather repeater would be on, and aim for the dark. That's all we had. I didn't know anything about the mesoscale analysis or even looking up models or any of that. I just look at the Storm Protection Center's website and kind of go with it, and just total renegade chasing, just going after it, and just whatever you see. And I never saw anything. I didn't see anything like really until like finally about 2015. And that's when I finally got my first actual bona fide tornado that I was actively chasing. It wasn't the first tornado I actually saw. That was when I was like 16. But yeah.
All right. Trying to think of another thing. What has your experience been like with other storm chasers?
Like in general?
In general, or your best experience, or your worst experience, just.
I mean, I think there's been good and bad, you know. I mean, with any hobby or passion shared by a large group of people, there's going to be your high school stuff, you know. It's going to be rumor, crap talking, and all the things, you know. And you just kind of like it comes with the territory. You know, I think the more successful you get at it, the more crap you get, and that's just kind
Yeah.
of that's
Yeah.
and that's just what you guys gotta expect it. You know, I think but as far as like the storm chasing community itself, I don't have any like real negative outlook on it. Really, I guess it can get clicky sometimes, you know. But really, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, we all share like the same passion, and I think that's one cool thing about it, especially as divided as everything is right now. You know, it's one thing that like when it's chase time, nobody cares if you're Republican or Democrat or what side of what issue you lie on. It's just like we're chasing now.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and I love that. You know,
Me too.
it's such a great thing to bring people together. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too. Like you can be out like in the middle of nowhere, and I've never met this person in my life, but he's clearly a chaser. And we can talk about things like we've known each other our whole lives, and be like, you know, like that road's good or whatever. You know, let's take that road. And you know, it's just like there's a sense of family out there, even with people I've never actually met before in my entire life. I've met some people that I now consider my friends, you know, and we talk. You just met them out in the middle of a cornfield somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any of y'all got any other questions?
Mm-mm.
I don't know what
Alright.
happened tonight. I can't think of questions. I don't know.
Darn. I'm running out of questions too.
I don't know. My brain is frozen. I don't know.
Yeah. This is what happens when I'm having to deal with several things at once.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Uh so I I mean, we can't think of any more questions, so I guess that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got a question. Is it still linear right now?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
I thought today if there was a chance of a discrete cell along in front of the main push, might have a chance, but
I think we only had one tornado today.
Yeah. There might have been
Yep.
some. No, I saw on Twitter there was a weak one in Illinois.
And that one was up
Yeah.
like toward Green Bay.
Yeah.
yeah, the best tornado videos of these events usually is somebody who doesn't even chase; they just happen to see it.
Right.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I might hit up Iowa tomorrow, but I don't know. It's a heck of a drive for a big maybe. It's pretty conditional. We'll have to see what it looks like in the morning here. Actually, I should figure because if I'm going to go in the morning, I got to leave early. I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had to clear all my site data. I got logged out of something, couldn't log back in. So
Yeah, currently
I'm having
we
to go
have
through
only
every
one
single
tornado
one of my
report,
applications.
185 wind reports, and 19 hail reports.
Wow, 185 already.
Jesus.
That thing's going to go all night, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, Michigan is up next if it goes across.
Yeah,
the
they
lake, Michigan.
yeah, they said a tornado watch is gonna be neat, or not tornado watch. The Great Thunderstorm watch is
Looks
gonna
like
be neat.
Milwaukee's getting the worst right now.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be Milwaukee. Like, see, that's the thing about chasing in bigger populated areas. Like I saw on some of the cams yesterday, it looks like a nice supercell is going to be heading right to Kansas City, and it looked like the better cell of the whole setup. And I'm like, huh, I wonder what that'd be like. It'd probably be a nightmare trying to navigate around like Kansas City. That's a big city, you know. Like, how do you?
You got buildings around you and you can't see anything.
Right.
Exactly. I don't
Yesterday,
think.
no one was talking about North Dakota.
Huh?
I said yesterday, no one was talking about North Dakota, how it could be
pretty
Oh,
bad
yeah,
yesterday.
there was a tornado, I think, reported.
North Dakota dodged a bullet. If there was one in the right area, there could have been a pretty significant tornado.
Yeah.
yeah, we tend to dodge those bullets a lot as far as the bigger areas, except for, well, actually in 1957 there was a F5 in Fargo. It was actually one of the two main tornado families that Ted Fujita studied to come up with that whole scale. Was in Fargo back in the day. My grandpa actually took photos of that. Not the tornado, but the aftermath. He worked for the paper at that time in town here. And man, there's some great photos of that. Like, I mean, it looks crazy. Like the most ridiculous mesocyclone ever. I mean, it looks fake, you know? It was so just perfect. The perfect stovepipe, and blasted through town, came a wedge at one point. Yeah, so it can happen, you know, but like it hasn't happened in quite a long time. I think there was a brief EF1 on the very north side of town, like talking rural north side of town, about 10 years ago, but that was about it.
Yeah. Do y'all have any more questions yet?
Unfortunately, no, I've run out.
Me too.
I never had any.
Jackson, do you
I
just
have
end
one.
it off right here? Okay.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for having me. I'll
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
like a web or just Discord or a website or or how do you do this?
YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll upload
Oh.
it to YouTube
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow.
Gotcha.
sometime.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look for that for sure. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
no
thank you.
I'm gonna look at the models now and see if I'm gonna drive tomorrow. We'll see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
August. No, you got like one more good one to get in, and then it's
Yep.
really real appreciable patterns coming up here anyway in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank
All
you so
right,
much.
thank you. Thank you.